Business networking is an incredibly powerful skill. I've been using it for years, and I've been lucky to meet Olympians, hedge fund managers, rocket scientists, and next month I'm even hosting an event with billionaires. All of this to say that it is a very learnable skill, yet so few people do it. In this video, I'm going to help you learn the secrets to how I've been able to build literally a multi-million-dollar network of people around me, and how you can do it whether you've got no budget, whether you have a little bit of experience, or you're really ready to go neck deep. My name is Tim Francis. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm based in Austin, Texas. I've been a guest lecturer at NYU Stern in Manhattan, and I've also appeared on the websites of Forbes and Inc. magazine. Many years ago, when I was beginning my entrepreneurial career, I was living in the suburbs in a very northern city in Canada. I was living with 3 roommates just to be able to pay the rent. And I was desperate to learn how to be an entrepreneur, and also desperate to just honestly get my first handful of clients. I had heard that networking was a really important skill to have. So I started attending a few lunchtime networking type situations, and I don't know, it was okay and it was good, but it just oftentimes felt pretty awkward. I found that oftentimes people would show up at that lunch and kind of like shift uncomfortably in their chairs. They really kind of just wanted to get everyone else's business card. So then after that, they could say, oh, let's have coffee together. And then from there, in that coffee, they really just wanted to sell each other. And there was really just kind of an awkwardness and a dryness maybe about it that just felt really, really strange. So nonetheless, I went for it. I did my best, and never really got anywhere with it in terms of getting clients or really, building a significant network around me. Then I read a book called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. And it talked about a very, very different way of thinking about building a network. In the book, the author Keith talks about going to yoga classes and talks about just staying in touch with people. And in fact, when he would travel around the United States, going to different cities, he would literally just text everyone from that city and say, hey, meet me at this restaurant, and voila, they would have suddenly like an impromptu 15 to 20 person mixer or dinner party. Just the way that he talked about it, it sounded so much more interesting. So I gave it a shot, and I started doing a few things. So in my home city, even though it was not a booming metropolis for my industry or anything like that, I actually started hosting lunch and learns where I would actually speak and teach, offer some kind of wisdom about entrepreneurship. I also started experimenting with hosting dinner parties at my home. And that was very, very interesting. Really, really cool experience to start really meeting and learning people. And what I really, really realized was that there was a way to connect with people through experiences, if you will. Again, whether that's by playing volleyball or having a dinner party or something, that just had like a lot more intrigue to it, and it was a lot more comfortable, and it was a lot more interesting, and candidly it just felt like it was more of a relationship. There was a far richer connection between me and the other people participating. And as I kind of got better and better at it, I started thinking of it actually as what I would call elegant and generous connecting. Elegant and generous connecting. Since really taking this approach for probably about 5 or 6 years, I've been just absolutely blown away at the kinds of results that I've gotten. I've actually hosted over 44 dinner parties, most of them here in Austin, a few in Edmonton, Canada as well. I think, in fact, I'm probably over 50 dinner parties at this point, with 8 new entrepreneur friends every single time. So that means that I've actually literally had dinner with over 400 entrepreneurs. Seeing how powerful those dinner parties were, I actually started hosting socials as well. And so now here in Austin, my good friend and I, we both host the dinner parties, and we now also host socials where there might be like 200 to 300 people there. Now, not everybody at those socials are business people. Not all of them are potential clients. In fact, the vast minority of them are. But what I've really come to realize is that the power of connecting people with no strings attached, to show up and just try to find how you can add value to every situation, is an incredibly, incredibly powerful and honestly freeing way to just kind of move through the world. People are really excited to see me and really excited to receive my text messages and phone calls because they know that I'm a generous person and I'm someone who's probably calling to give them something rather than ask for something. All this really kind of hit a climax, I would say, just a few weeks ago when my good friend and I, we were actually approached by the United Nations to see if we would be interested in hosting the social for a United Nations event happening here in Austin. Never in a million years did I ever think that I'd be hosting events for world dignitaries and billionaires and all the rest, but here we are. So it's been an incredible experience to really take this approach of being an elegant and generous connector. In this next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the kind of beginner, medium, and advanced version of this. You might even think of it as small, medium, and large. And for you, you can decide where you could see yourself plugging in. So the beginning or small version of this is to simply be a connector. In the city that you're already in the groups that you already circulate in, be a connector. Be someone who offers resources, introductions, and is really, really keen and intentional about it. Every week, I'm probably creating at least 5 to 10 introductions between people. And I'm probably doing at least 2 to 3, whether it's a one-on-one Zoom call with someone out of the city, or whether it's a dinner that I go to, or a dinner that I host for that matter, probably at least 2 to 3 connections a week. Connection calls, I should say, and that leads to, who knows, maybe 10, 15, 20 connections that I'm both giving and receiving. And in these calls, really all I'm listening for is, hey, where are you at? What are you looking for next? And I'm thinking through my head, if they need a graphic designer, I'll make an introduction. If they're looking for a mentor, I'll try and create an introduction. Sometimes I'm introducing not to a person, but sometimes it's to an organization or to a book or a course or something like that. And I'm just really, really committed to listening to how I can help that person. I went from really just attending the earliest days of networking events, the ones that were kind of dry and awkward. And that was such a room where it's like I was trying to maybe get something from the room, like, hey, who can hire me or something like that. I am now on the polar opposite where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give so much and who knows what's going to happen. Like the universe is just going to deliver, and it has in spades. So you can be a connector immediately. Like you can decide right now as you watch this video that it's time for you to become a connector. And if I can give you one pro tip, I think that the biggest weakness that my former self had, and I think when I help others with this idea of networking, connecting, the biggest weakness is actually follow through. You can get on a call with someone and say, hey, let's catch up. I'd love to know how I can help you. And you can come up with 2, 3, 4 introductions you might be able to offer. And they may actually also offer you 2, 3, 4 introductions. But if you don't actually follow through and create those introductions, it's not even just that it's a missed opportunity. I think you actually move backwards in the relationship. Because here, you've kind of put yourself at issue, you've put your butt on the line a little bit to say, I'm going to do this for you. And if you don't follow through on that, the other party might kind of be like, well, that's disappointing. This person's not a person of their word. We don't want that reputation. So I literally have a spreadsheet of all the people that I have connection calls with, all the guests at dinner parties and whatnot. And it's about probably 6 months ago that I really got good at it. And I think about all the missed opportunity prior to that, and it really honestly it hurts my heart a little bit that I didn't follow through on my past opportunities. So that's the first thing that you can do. That's kind of like your entry level. And if you do nothing else but just start showing up as a connector and actively try to have at least 2 conversations per week where you're listening for how you can make introductions for others, if you do nothing else but that, you will already see your network grow, your business grow, and honestly, your circle of friends grow, the circle of people that you can contact at any given moment. Your network is your net worth is a very, very common expression. And you just literally don't know when you may need to lean on a friend or some kind of a relationship or expert. Dig the well before you need the water. Now, if you want to take this to the next level, so we're now talking about level 2 here, actually hosting events. So not just having a Zoom call or a coffee or a dinner or something, like literally hosting events. And that could be as small as a 6 to 8 person dinner, all the way up to, what we've done is like a 300 person social. Hosting events, you can start really simply by just having people meet up for whether it's happy hour or whether it is some kind of a cocktail hour or some kind of social or mixer. Pro tip, I recommend you do a Wednesday or a Thursday night. You'll find that there's just way less competition for people going out for other events or people going out on dates or whatever. Wednesday, Thursday is wonderful. Low competition night, you can definitely make that happen. Now, you don't have to have a big fancy dinner table and spend a bunch of money on all that. You can literally just say, let's meet at the hotel bar of the Fairmont, and you can have 8 to 10 people there, and you can mix, mingle, chat, have a great time. It might last 2 to 3 hours, and that's it. You're not limited to doing this just in your city. So something that I would do is every city that I would fly to, I would actually host TF. My name is Tim Francis. So TF in New York, TF in Chicago, TF in San Diego, Austin, San Francisco, wherever it was. And all I would do is I would just go into Facebook, I would type in, and I forget the exact words, but I think you can type something like my friends in San Diego. And it'll just show you all your Facebook friends in San Diego. And so I just go through that, and I would create an event on Facebook, and I would simply invite all my San Diego connections, and some would come, some wouldn't, and that was perfectly fine. Prior to arriving at the city, I would also go through my phone, and I would just go through and just try to find all the people that are in San Diego. It's a great thing you can do when you're like sitting at the airport waiting for your flight, right? Very, very, very nice. And then from there, I would also text those people at the Facebook event, inviting them to come out. I'll tell you, sometimes I'd only have 3, 4 people. Sometimes I'd have 20 people in the various cities that I would show up in. But I'll tell you that I also was never disappointed. We always had a great time, had a ton of fun, and great new relationships were either started or furthered from doing all these TF events around North America. If you are into hosting dinner parties, I would start with what I just recommended first. Do something smaller at a bar just to get the momentum, get started, get the reps under your belt of creating events, inviting people out. And it is a little bit of manual labor in terms of personally texting people, but that's why people are coming out. It's because it's a personal text from you and an opportunity to build a personal relationship with you. Now, you can also always invite people to bring a +1 who they think would be interesting for the event. That's a very cool way to expand your network as well. We actually have not resorted to that for whatever reason. I think I'm just out and about around Austin at events enough, so is my co-host, that we're just constantly meeting people on our own anyways, that we're not even needing people to bring people. Although that certainly is a very powerful strategy, and I love that as an idea. Now here's the third level. So the first was to be a connector, the second was to host events, and the third, this is the highest level, is figure out what city is the hub for your industry and then move there. I've actually done that myself. I now live in Austin, Texas. It is the epicenter of my industry, and sooner or later, anybody that I want to meet is coming through Austin at least once per year. It might be for a conference, maybe for a mastermind, heck, it might even be for a bachelor party. But everybody's coming through Austin at least once per year, and guess who's here? Tim is here downtown, ready to show people around, ready to host them. In fact, just a few nights ago, a mastermind wrapped up at a private Airbnb on the lake. And one of the attendees didn't have any plans, so I said, hey, come with me downtown. Around that time, I actually got a text from someone who was flying in from San Diego. They said, hey, PS, we're landing in an hour, and I've got 6 other people with me. Let's meet up. And so I combined all the groups together, and we hosted an impromptu dinner at a restaurant, and it all came together in under just a couple hours. And of course, I'm there busy being a connector and hearing what everybody's up to and figuring out how I can connect them. And it just added tremendous value. And that never would have happened if I was not living in the epicenter of my industry. Another perfect example is there was one day that I got into the elevator at my apartment here, and I live on one of the upper floors, but not the top floor. And as the elevator started going up the first few floors, it stopped on the 3rd or 4th floor. The doors open and someone came in from the garage, and I'd never seen this person before. He was a gentleman. He looked like he was maybe like early 60s, kind of salt and pepper hair, well dressed. And I saw him push the very top button, and I'm like, ooh, that's an expensive place to live. So in my mind, I'm kind of like quickly profiling this person, as we all naturally do. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I want to know this guy. So I mentioned to him, I said, hey, I haven't seen you in the building before. I'm wondering, are you new here? I said, oh yeah, I just moved from New York City. In my head, I'm like, okay, that's another check mark, New York City. I said, oh, that's great. What caused you to come to Austin? And he said, oh, well, my friend and I decided we were going to start a hedge fund for technology companies, and there's no better place than Austin. So we're here now, and we're getting busy. In my head, I'm like, founder of a hedge fund, wow. So as I'm watching the floors go by, I know I don't have forever with this guy. Like, I may never see this guy again. So I just quickly said, oh, hey, my friend and I host private invitation-only dinner parties for entrepreneurs right here in the building. And I think you'd have a really good time. Great way to meet a lot of new people too. Are you interested in coming sometime? And he looked at me and said, oh, that'd be amazing. I'd love to meet more people. So we exchanged numbers, and lo and behold, 6 weeks later, the founder of a hedge fund was sitting around my dinner table. Hosting events, whether it's the large-scale events like our socials, like our 300-person socials, or our smaller, more intimate dinner parties, are really like a honeypot to really draw people in. I've literally never had anybody say no to an invitation to a private invitation-only dinner party. Like, just the sound of that is awesome. And literally, I've never had anybody ever say no to me. So, like, even if I meet someone for 15 or 20 seconds, I can start talking about the dinner party, and they're interested, and they're there, like, within just a few weeks. So all of that goes to hyperdrive when you're now living in probably the downtown or wherever the epicenter is in your ideal city, because you just start bumping into people. You bump into people in the street, at the grocery store, at the gym, or in my case, literally in my own building. Like, so you take a high-powered strategy like being a generous connector, then you've got the honeypot strategy, and you bring all that to the main city that's the epicenter of your industry. Holy smokes. No wonder my network has totally skyrocketed. Just absolutely, absolutely incredible stuff. So I have to tell you that it's been kind of awkward or strange or funny or interesting that, I'm Canadian, I'm not even American. And within, I think it was the first year of me living in Austin, people were already starting to tag me on Facebook as the most connected man in Austin. Now, I kind of like beg to differ maybe a little bit, because I'm probably better known in Austin in my industry in downtown. And I certainly wouldn't purport to be like Matthew McConaughey or like Sandra Bullock or these superstars who live in Austin. But yeah, there's no question that it's like my name has certainly become one that is a destination person to contact when people are coming through Austin. Ultimately, for me, I think I've really come to realize through all of this that the world is really a magical place that is so full of incredible and wonderful surprises and opportunities. And I don't just mean business opportunities, but nifty opportunities. At one of our socials, one of our attendees, he's not an entrepreneur, but he came up and he said, hey man, I'm a pilot. Like, I'd love to take you flying sometime. Like, just these kinds of opportunities just kind of like float in your way when you are playing that role. And with the world so full of magic, it's so incredible to know that anything we want is only one introduction away. And so with that in mind, it's like I get so excited to be able to accelerate that, to accelerate being able to see and find the magic and the wonderful surprises that are waiting just one introduction away. So if you found this to be helpful, I do request if you'd be so kind to subscribe to my YouTube channel here. I'm putting out content regularly on the topic of entrepreneurship. And I sincerely hope that if you found this to be helpful, that you too do decide to either be a connector and or start hosting events and maybe even move to the city that is your epicenter. My name is Tim Francis. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.